I think that they will continue prioritizing speed over accuracy because their competition is not just NBC and ABC. Their competition is every single person who has a smartphone in their pocket with social media apps loaded up on it. Their competition is the whole world now, and they've got to be first to the story. And so accuracy out the window, speed, speed, speed. Good information is hard to find in the fog of war. However, when it was reported that Israel had bombed a civilian hospital, killing over 500 innocent people, it was possibly the most egregious misinformation since the alleged weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. So how did everyone get this wrong? And what does this expose about the perverse incentives guiding the media today? Things are escalating so quickly in the Middle East, and we have Russia and Iran who have been holding hands for some time now, and China is involved in that at some level, and we are sending warships over into that area of the world, and China is now sending warships, and all of this continues to escalate. And so much of war centers around propaganda, and what propaganda is meant to do is change the hearts and the minds of the people within the countries who you are at odds with. And I might do one of these segments, one of these weeks, just about all of the marches and rallies and the things we're seeing and the division between those who are pro-Israel and those who are pro-Palestine, and how to have some version of a nuanced view of that. And if you're versed in scripture at all, you know that this goes all the way back to the book of Genesis and to Abraham, and this is a religious conflict that is rooted so much deeper than almost anyone in the West can actually appreciate. And what happened over the last week is there was a hospital that was allegedly bombed, 500 innocent civilians dead. And I mean, this was on the front page of every major news network website. Most of the podcasters were talking about it. It was scrolling across the news, breaking news on all of the sites, and it ended up being far, far from accurate. Let's look at some reporting on this. This says, Hamas lied. Number of estimated deaths at Gaza hospital hit by rocket lower than Palestinian claims, reports say. The Hamas-run Palestinian Health Ministry claimed earlier this week that Israel targeted a hospital in Gaza, dropped a bomb on it, and killed more than 500 people. Okay, so Israel targeted a hospital, dropped a bomb on it, and killed more than 500 people. Those are the claims. Democrats, legacy news publications, and notorious anti-Semitic propagandists instantly made the claims go viral Tuesday night on social media. Every aspect of what the Palestinians claimed happened has effectively been debunked through evidence and refuted in statements released by Israeli officials, U.S. officials, and now European officials. The Israel Defense Forces released evidence showing that the explosion was not caused by an aerial bomb and did not strike the hospital. It exploded in a parking lot. It also released intercepted communications from Hamas terrorists who said the explosion was caused by a rocket fired by the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. U.S. intelligence later confirmed that it had satellite and other infrared data showing a launch of a rocket or missile from Palestinian fighters positioned within Gaza, according to a report from the New York Times. AFP reported that a European intelligence agency told the publication there wasn't 200 or even 500 deaths, more likely between 10 and 50. And so here were the claims that Israel targeted a hospital, that Israel dropped a bomb, and that 500 people had died. And the reality is the rocket came from Gaza, from Hamas, not from Israel, that it wasn't targeting the hospital at all. It was trying to shoot it into Israel. There are reports that up to 25% of the rockets that are fired from Gaza don't make it into Israel. And that's because these are not super sophisticated rockets. We have learned from propaganda videos from Hamas themselves that the hundreds of millions of dollars of humanitarian aid that have come into them have largely been used to reinforce their fighting, including like all the water pipes that were supposed to create a water system for them, used to refashion into rockets to shoot into Israel. And a lot of these rockets fail, and it didn't hit the hospital at all. It hit the parking lot next to the hospital, and 500 people didn't die. It was like something like a dozen people. And of course, anyone who dies is a huge tragedy, and we should mourn the loss of death as believers in Jesus always. What I'm focused on in this segment is the massive misinformation that came out. I mean, some of what are supposed to be the most respected news outlets taking the word of Hamas, taking the word of terrorists, and just running with it. And so here's an idea. I know this is crazy. I'm not trying to reshape the world here, but maybe we should fact check terrorists.
Wow.
Hamas and the Gaza Ministry of Health, they are notorious for putting out false propagandistic information. They haven't even hidden this. There has been intel from the past where the Gaza Ministry of Health says, whoever dies, call them a civilian, because if it's a civilian, it gets the sympathy of the world. However many people die, inflate the number, because that gets the sympathy of the world. And within minutes of this bomb going off, they had a number, 500 dead. There's no way you could have even found that out, but we run for it, and we run for it so quickly. And these mainstream media outlets, they put this out, and it further destabilizes the Middle East in a massive way. And it creates more riots in the Middle East, and it puts embassies in danger. In a very real sense, this kind of information, non-fact checked, put out without fact checking the terrorists, has put blood on the hands of the major news networks who ran with this. It is beyond irresponsible. In the book of Proverbs, it says, the simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to their steps. The prudent fact check their information. The prudent care about accuracy. And what we have is a media environment. And a lot of this is because of the advent of social media. And social media is like instant media. And now all of us are kind of street level reporters, and all of us have platforms. And used to, like 3 people had platforms, and those were the 3 major news networks. And news came on at 6 p.m. and everyone sat around a television and watched it, and everyone largely trusted it. Now news is 24 hours, and news is big business. And its competition is not 2 other networks. When the competition is 2 other networks, there is incentive to get your ducks in a row and to put out accurate information, because if you're the most accurate news source, then people will go to you instead of the others. Now, the major incentive is not accuracy. The major incentive is speed. And speed is often in competition with accuracy. You know this all the way back to elementary school, that if your goal every time you take a test is to be the first one to turn it into the teacher, if every assignment that you're given is a race to you, then that speed is often in competition with your accuracy. You forget to put your name on the paper. You fill in the wrong bubble. You don't check your work because you just got to get in as fast as possible. This is just true in life, and it's certainly true in media. And look, when you're doing a story about the presidential election, and there is a report that some crazy thing came out about Trump, some crazy thing came out about Biden, and you just completely throw accuracy to the wind so you can be the first to the story, that has consequences. It's not good, but the consequences are contained. When you are putting out information that is very similar to like a blood libel, Israel, who there's already so much controversy around, is targeting a civilian hospital with no warning, which doesn't even sound like Israel, who goes out of their way to not cause civilian casualties. When you just put that out, you're putting lives at risk. Genuinely, you are causing lives, because you've got to be the first to the story. Proverbs 19 says, a false witness will not go unpunished, and whoever pours out lies will perish. And James, the half-brother of Jesus, said this, my dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen and slow to speak and slow to become angry. And, you know, I'm one guy with a small YouTube channel. I can't control what the mainstream media is going to do. And this won't be the last time that they put out egregiously wrong information that costs people their life. I just think that's a fact. I don't think they're going to learn from this. I think that they will continue prioritizing speed over accuracy, because their competition is not just NBC and ABC. Their competition is every single person who has a smartphone in their pocket with social media apps loaded up on it. Their competition is the whole world now, and they've got to be first to the story. And so accuracy out the window, speed, speed, speed. I don't think this will be the last time. So here's my encouragement to us on the ground, to us normal people. Quell your reactions until the facts come out, especially about this war. It's so difficult to get good information. That's why the term the fog of war exists. It's just difficult to see things clearly. It's difficult to know what's accurate. And propaganda is a very real thing that is being put out in force. So we as individuals should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and maybe most importantly, we should be very, very slow to become angry. If you enjoyed this clip, make sure you check out the full podcast and subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with all new content. You can also support the channel at patreon.com/Clayton Tyner. Link is in the description below.